Alrighty, YouTube, Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. Victory Monday, of course, a day after the 49ers pretty much routed the Arizona Cardinals 45-21. There's a lot of players that played very, very well yesterday, but of course, you know how it is here. We only give game balls to 3 people in the game, and I got to start it off number 1 with Brock Purdy. 16 for 25, 242 yards, and 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers. Guy played his ass off again, strengthened, and pretty much put a, closed the case when it comes to him winning the MVP. Brock Purdy, without a doubt, should be the 2023 MVP. I think everybody knows that by now. If it's not Brock Purdy, it's Christian McCaffrey. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them guys. I think obviously Christian McCaffrey's, having himself in a historic season. What he's been able to do ever since coming to San Francisco and being traded to San Francisco, slim to none. He's by far the best running back in football. And, week in and week out, he continues to show that and prove that. But, yeah, I thought, with Brock Purdy, there were so many high-level throws he made yesterday. The pass to Christian McCaffrey when he rolled out of the pocket and escaped pressure, that was really like a layup type of pass. He should have made that throw. He did. But the play with him escaping pressure and rolling out and finding McCaffrey in the manner that he did was an elite play from him. Obviously, he had 2 touchdowns to Deebo Samuel, 2 touchdowns to Christian McCaffrey. I thought his best throw all game came when he hit Deebo on the back shoulder throw for I believe that was his 4th touchdown of the day. But it was the 2nd touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel, but the throw he made to Deebo on that was wild. That was probably one of his best passes all season, and he hit that same throw in the New York Giants game. I believe that was week 2 or week 3 when we played them on Thursday night, but he made that pretty much the same throw to Deebo Samuel. Earlier on in the season, that was just as elite as the throw he made yesterday to Deebo. So, yeah, I mean the guy. Everybody knows. I mean the guy is playing his butt off. He was arguably one of the better players on the field yesterday, aside from of course Christian McCaffrey. And then obviously when you look at, when you look at the throw to Deebo, he literally put that ball only where his guy could get that, only where Deebo could get that. So yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it was a great throw. Purdy had a great game. A lot of people continue to say that he's not the MVP of the team, this and that. People are just saying shit at this point. Obviously, when you're number 1 in every single quarterback category, you can argue that you're the MVP of the team. And again, I think when it's all said and done, you can say that Christian McCaffrey is the MVP of the team because of the historic season he's having. But I just don't think people can understand that Brock Purdy's been the best quarterback in the NFL this season, and Christian McCaffrey's been the best running back in the NFL at this point in the season. Nobody else is doing it like them. People don't want to believe it because it doesn't happen often where you have a quarterback playing better than any other quarterback in the NFL, and then the running back doing the same. But it's a fortunate position to be in, with having the best running back in football and the best quarterback in football this season. But people don't want to believe it because it doesn't happen often, and I don't know if it's ever has happened. Obviously, it happened with Joe Montana and things of that nature. But even with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, there's a lot of people that widely regard Joe Montana as the greatest quarterback ever. There's obviously everybody thinks Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver ever. Obviously, we're talking about Brock Purdy, who clearly isn't in the GOAT conversation, and he's not even close to being so. Could he be one day? I don't know. We'll have to see how many Super Bowls he can possibly win. But the point I'm trying to make is people don't want to believe that Brock Purdy deserves the MVP over McCaffrey because of the season McCaffrey's having, but while McCaffrey's having this season, Brock Purdy's leading the league in every quarterback stat across the board. So, again, he's the 2023 MVP. Obviously, if it's not a quarterback, it's Christian McCaffrey. So, either way, the 49ers have two MVP caliber players on their team. Again, nobody's playing better than Brock Purdy, and nobody has been all season. Nobody's playing better than Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, without a doubt, Brock Purdy gets the first game ball. Number 2, it's got to be McCaffrey. 18 carries for 115 yards. He had a touchdown on the ground. He had 5 catches for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. It looked a lot like the first game he had against Arizona. He simply just took the game over. He led the league led the team in receiving yards yesterday as well as catches. Christian McCaffrey does this. He does this week in and week out. He's did this all season. Again, his stats the first go around when we played Arizona, I believe that may have been week 4 or something like that. But the first time we played Arizona, again, Christian McCaffrey put up very similar stats. And I said going into this game that he could have a day exactly like he had against Arizona the first go around, and he did exactly that. So McCaffrey, arguably, again, the best player on the field for both teams yesterday, absolutely went off, took the game over, and, the rest was history. So Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt, gets game ball number 2. And then game ball number 3, I think you can easily go Deebo Samuel here. I think you could go Nick Bosa. I think you could go Charvarius Ward. In my opinion, it's Charvarius Ward. 2 interceptions. One was a pick 6 that he ran from 66 yards to the crib. Charvarius Ward arguably was the best player on both teams yesterday as well. I said this in the post-game reaction video, but he went on Eric Armstead's podcast and talked about he talked about how he needs to start turning these pass deflections, because obviously everybody knows Charvarius Ward leads the league in pass deflections this season. But he talked about, how he needs to start turning these pass deflections into interceptions, and he did exactly that yesterday. The pick 6 was one of the better plays that a defensive player on the 49ers has had all season. Yarded it for 66 yards. He wasn't even really fully healthy going into this game. Him along with Dre Greenlaw were both questionable. Obviously, Charvarius Ward had the groin injury, but it didn't seem like that was bothering him at all on that touchdown run on the pick 6 he took back. So, I think without a doubt it's got to be Charvarius Ward. 1 pick 6 is one thing, but when you have 2 interceptions, that's another thing. So I thought Charvarius Ward played at above an elite level yesterday. Nick Bosa obviously even played well. Nick Bosa had, I believe, 1.5 sacks. He had an assist on one, and then he had another one. So you could give it to him. Javon Kinlaw had a sack. Fred Warner had, half a sack. Again, led the team in tackles. Actually, Diamador Lenore and Fred Warner were tied when it comes to leading the team in tackles yesterday. So, a masterclass performance from the entire team yesterday. But Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and Charvarius Ward, in my opinion, are the game balls. Again, you can easily give it to Deebo. You can easily give it to, Charvarius Ward like I did. But I think having a pick 6 and 2 total interceptions is big. And he stepped up, when the Niners needed it most. He was preying on Trey McBride all game. So, without a doubt, those are my 3 game balls. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Charvarius Ward. If you guys think any other player obviously deserve the game ball, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm pretty confident in those 3. I think those 3 guys deserve it over anybody else in the big win yesterday. So, other than that, man, as always, go Niners. Obviously, from here on out, it's on to Baltimore. Baltimore won last night in big fashion. Lamar looked good. Lamar's right behind Brock Purdy now in the MVP race. He ain't catching Brock Purdy, but he's in the mix. Somehow over Christian McCaffrey, he's got better odds just because he's a quarterback. But Yeah, at the end of the day, man, again, take it one game at a time. Baltimore's, the number one seed in the AFC for a reason. They do have a lot of injuries, though. Keaton Mitchell tore his ACL last night, unfortunately. Obviously Mark Andrews got hurt, about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. So they're dealing with a lot of injuries, but, Lamar's putting the team on his back, and he's making the necessary plays, to keep them in the number one seed. So, number one seed in the AFC versus the number one seed in the NFC. It's a home game on Christmas Day, of course, so that's, that helps big time. But, yeah, man, that's going to be a hell of a game. Again, just got to take it one game at a time, continue. We won the NFC West yesterday, but that's not what the Niners are set out to do. They're not set out to win a playoff game either. They're not set out to win the NFC Championship. There's one goal in mind, and I think everybody knows what that is, and that's to win a Super Bowl. Anything less than winning a Super Bowl this season for the Niners, it's a failure. That's the standard now. The standard is getting to the NFC Championship, getting to the Super Bowl. If they get to the Super Bowl again, they ain't losing that Super Bowl. That would be 3 straight Super Bowls in a row where they've lost to get that 6th Lombardi. So next time, if the Niners can get to the Super Bowl this year, nobody's beating them. There's not a team in the AFC that I think can withstand what San Francisco has been doing all season. But again, anything can happen in the playoffs. They just have to take it one game at a time, continue to beat teams that they should be beating, like they did against the Cardinals last night. And I think it's the Niners' destiny and the Niners' chance to win a Super Bowl is all in the team's hands. And, Fred Warner said it last night, like, the standard is winning the NFC West. They did it 3 years in a row. Like, they're expected to do that. But, they haven't gotten to the ultimate goal yet, and that's winning a Super Bowl. But I think, again, I'll double down on what I said yesterday in the postgame video. The Niners, they genuinely do not have... They haven't had a better opportunity to win the Super Bowl than they do this year. The team's fairly healthy for the most part. We're not really missing anybody major besides Talanoa Hufanga. Obviously, we have to make sure, Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave can eventually come back and stay healthy. I think they'll be playing Christmas Day against Baltimore, so I would expect them to be out there playing. But yeah, man, other than that, they've stayed pretty healthy. Their core is intact still. And again, they didn't, come out of this season with the goal in mind being to win the NFC West. Like, I don't care about the NFC West championship no more. I don't care about the NFC championship no more. Like, none of that stuff means anything anymore. The only thing that matters most this year and from here on out is Super Bowls. And the Niners have to do it this year. It's literally the perfect formula for the Niners to win it all. But again, one game at a time. On to Baltimore. Go Niners as always. I'll see you guys in the next one.